You're listening to an Airwave Media podcast.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
what will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Everyone knows therapy is great for solving problems, but getting therapy has its own problems too, like finding the right therapist, fitting into their schedule, and of course, the cost. Well, BetterHelp can solve those problems. It's totally online and built around your schedule. It's surprisingly affordable too. Connect with a credentialed therapist by phone, video, or online chat, all from the comfort of your home. Visit BetterHelp.com to learn more and save 10% on your first month. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neil, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Ken. I'm in the studio with Jeff. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, I'm doing fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You in some pain?
I'm in a little, I got some dental pain today, but we'll muddle
You a little
through.
mad? Yeah. You a little sad? Yeah.
I don't know if I'm
Has
mad.
anybody seen that meme? I love it. I love the Nanland memes. Anyways, plowing right ahead forward over the internet, we have the man who wrote Baby Shark. Matt, how you doing?
It's me. That's right. I do recall that.
Why did you do that, Matt?
Because he's
a
the royalties,
billionaire.
and then I got none. Yeah,
You got none?
none. No.
You sold the rights for a nickel and a sody pop?
No,
Jimmy
he
Tickle.
was a subcontractor of Pink Fong. So
I see.
I only wrote the daddy shark part, so you only get partial. That's the problem.
And the voice you might have heard also joining us today in place of Neil, Julia.
Sorry, I'm really bad about waiting my turn.
You don't have to wait. You're part of the fold now, so
Hi, everyone.
you're welcome to speak whenever you please. We always interrupt the introductions anyway, so
yeah, I'm usually good for that. But Ken, I appreciate you announcing our guest today. But you can't have a great game, and I'm hoping it will be, without a great host. So I'm going to introduce today's host, our Oakland 5 patron from Gaithersburg, Maryland, Holden Zeidman. How you doing today, Holden?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks. I'm in College Park right now at the University of Maryland. I'm a junior here studying secondary education and math. I do a lot of substitute teaching, math tutoring, stuff like that.
sweet.
My mom got me into trivia a couple years ago when she took me with her coworkers, and now I've been doing it ever since. She showed me this show, and now I'm excited to come on and show you guys some questions and host an episode.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate that. So the teams, I believe, are going to be Julia and Matt again. They won last time. They were a team, so we're just going to keep that rolling, and me and Jeff are going to try to take them down, put them in their place, and become the cream of the crop today. Any idea on team name today?
Yeah, I think I'm feeling pretty super today. It's a Super Bowl Sunday. I'm thinking that we can be the Super Bowl champion. Ken edited in later.
Ah, very nice. And in that case, I guess we'll be the Atlanta Falcons.
As long as we're not the Denver Broncos, right?
Correct.
Nothing wrong with owning the Denver Broncos.
So the edited in later champions versus the Atlanta Falcons, and let's go to the rules.
The rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there'll be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated and will have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorized questions. At the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
the cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
All right, with all that out of the way, it looks like we are ready to go. Holden, go ahead and take it away with question 1.
All right, here we go. Your first category today is World Geography Spelling Bee. There are 3 letters that serve as the first letter of exactly one country in the world. For 5 points each, what are those 3 letters?
Now here I thought Holden was a nice guy, and then he presents me with spelling and geography at the same time.
Out the gate, Holden. Out the gate.
Yeah, you know, the geography is good. The spelling is my those don't match for me. So,
Well, despite my nervousness on this question, I think we will lock in, and I did actually get 2 of these. So,
All right, Matt, I got Q and Y.
Mm-hmm. Q for Qatar, Y for Yemen.
Yep.
Okay, and that was like Yugoslavia, not a country. That was the one I was thinking of. So
Yeah.
I
I don't think X is anything.
Yeah.
I don't think J is anything. No, I don't think J is a country.
Jamaica.
Okay.
Japan.
Just a tiny little country called Japan.
Look, guys, I spent a lot of time watching Sesame Street these days. I haven't really.
You got W, West
been
Germany. I have an old map. I don't know. All right. So right away we came to Q and Y for Qatar and Yemen, and then we talked about every letter in the alphabet for a boring 3 minutes for everyone else in the studio.
I'll cut that.
And we settled on O for Oman.
Oh, what a coincidence. We had the same 3 letters.
And nice work for both teams there. That would be Y for Yemen, O for Oman, and Q for Qatar.
Whew. Sweet. All right.
So the geography and spelling turned out okay after all.
Yeah.
Let's see what kind of horrors are in store for question 2.
Quite a warm up. So let's get going. Now that my brain's moving.
All right, question number 2. Your category is pixie dust. On a previous episode of the show, I learned about hagelslag, the Dutch chocolate sprinkles that are sprinkled on top of buttered bread. What is the name of the very similar Australian snack where round rainbow sprinkles are sprinkled onto buttered bread and typically cut into triangles?
You're the Australia man. It looks like the other team is locked in. Julia, have you feasted upon this?
Oh, I've eaten this. Yeah.
Okay.
So has Bluey.
Oh.
No children.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Between the two of us, yeah.
It's a problem, but it's not a problem. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, I remember it having like a fun name, but
You said pixie dust, so.
Yeah.
Fairy
bread.
Fairy bread.
Yeah, fairy bread.
Woo!
For real?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, I was like, I should have just sat here. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, nice work for both teams. I had this when I did a semester in Australia last year. It is called fairy bread.
Well, how stupid is that we just made up a thing and it was correct?
Well, like I said, it had like a kind of a whimsical name I remembered. So when you said it, I was pretty convinced. Yeah. So,
all right, people, stop putting sprinkles on buttered bread.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's been done.
All right, next up, we've got math class. I'm a math major, so you guys know I had to hit you with some math questions. Euler's constant, denoted by a single lowercase e, is famous through a number of branches of mathematics, most notably for its use in the calculation of compound interest. However, Euler did not discover this constant, so the e does not stand for his name. What mathematical term does the e stand for? And for a 2-point bonus, within 1/100th, what is the approximate value of e?
All right, sounds like they're in. How's about... I'm going to pull from my own brain that it's 2.71 for the number.
That's what I wrote down. You didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
I actually think it's like 2.72, but rounding, but we said hundredths, so.
Okay. And then how about exponent for the other thing?
How about, I'm okay with exponent or exponential, something like that.
Exponential.
Okay. But yeah, I wouldn't have been in that realm without you, but I like that.
Yeah, so I think 2.7 is what it is. This is very big in economics, and I have a degree in it, so it cost me $60,000 to know that. And I think that it actually stands for a different mathematician's name. He had a day off once, Ferris Euler. Euler, I believe, is what the E stands for.
All right, so that E, because E is used for exponential growth, it does stand for exponent. And both teams did get within the range for the number. It is about 2.71, and everyone was in 1/100th of that. All right, so next question here, we've got sports geography. There is only one U.S. state with exactly one team in each of the 4 major leagues in which each team uses the state rather than a specific city, as the location in its name. Which U.S. state is this?
So you wrote Arizona, which is good for the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks, but Phoenix Suns is the basketball team.
What
So
about
that puts that one
Minnesota?
out.
Minnesota?
Minnesota Twins, Minnesota Vikings, Minnesota
Wild.
Wild, and Minnesota.
Let's say Minnesota.
Minnesota Timberwolves. Yeah,
right.
you're right.
Minnesota.
Yeah, we actually had a beat writer for the Timberwolves on the show at one point who told funny stories about Tom Thibodeau. I'm pretty sure it's Minnesota.
And yep, points to both teams there. That would be Minnesota.
I'm on fire today. You better watch out, Julia and Matt.
Well, he's got to get to the wagering part at the end.
The winner of today's Super Bowl might just be the Atlanta Falcons.
That's okay. All the sugar high from the fairy bread's going to wear out in a minute here, and Ken's going to crash. So.
Okay.
All right, next up, we've got map misconceptions. On a map, this state appears to have a simple shape, but if you zoom in, you will see that it actually has 697 sides due to surveying errors. What state is this?
Matt,
What
just
square states are you thinking?
yeah. What are we? Yeah, a
Wyoming?
simple shape. Wyoming, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Nevada is pretty simple looking.
Yeah, but it has a little bit of a corner. I think Wyoming
Yeah.
is the most square state, isn't it?
Yeah.
I drove through it, and I don't get reception for long periods of it. There's nothing in Wyoming, so people didn't want to go there. And
When you say
do the
square,
survey.
do you mean shape-wise or personality-wise?
Both. It's both.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's high cowboy country out there. So
Better watch your mouth.
I know.
So Wyoming?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Let's go Wyoming.
All right, we're going the other way. We're going to say Colorado.
So, points to one team there. The surveying errors were because lines of longitude are not actually parallel, but the guys thought they were. That would be Colorado with 697 sides.
Well,
I learned something new. Right. What a great day.
And that will bring us to the first score update. It's a very close game. Anybody's game, you might want to say. But we'd have a slight lead here at the Atlanta Falcons at 57 points. And then edited in later, we'll have 37 points.
well, I hope those numbers line up with your squares, everybody.
Scoregami. Never had this before.
All right, moving on to round one, question 6. We've got international sports. On the world stage, the United States is typically the dominant force in basketball. However, in the 2004 Olympics, they did not take the gold and suffered a shocking upset loss in the group stage when NBA player Carlos Arroyo led what non-independent territory to an upset win over the U.S. with no other NBA teammates.
Matt is locked in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do we lose to,
Carlos Arroyo.
I know, I'm thinking, do we lose to like Puerto Rico or something?
Do they compete with their own
Possibly.
team?
They are not independent because
Correct.
they're
I
under a-
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's say that.
Okay.
Yeah, this was a big part of the Redeem Team documentary that was on Netflix. I think it came out this year. They lost to Puerto Rico, and then they said, we need LeBron James, Kobe, Carmelo. You're all on the team now. That's what happened.
And nice work from both teams. They did lose to Puerto Rico. Next up, we've got The Dairy at the Ford Theater. In the 21st century, 2 actors have won the Best Actor award 2 times each. The first actor won it in 2007 and 2012, and the second actor won it in 2003 and 2008. For 5 points each, name these actors.
So we had Daniel Day-Lewis right away, and we couldn't figure out. And then when she reset the category, we said dairy, milk.
Oh, milk.
Sean
And also,
Penn.
he won for Mystic River, right? That would have been 03.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, it seems we got one of them. We got Daniel Day-Lewis. And for the other one, we said Russell Crowe.
So nice last second catch with that category there. That was Sean Penn for Mystic River and Milk, and Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln and There Will Be Blood.
Mm-hmm.
See, I thought for some reason he did not win for There Will Be Blood.
Oh, I was,
which is a travesty, but
I was
I guess
positive
it's
he
not
won.
a travesty because he won.
Travesty Redacted.
Travesty Redacted, exactly. That's a great title for this episode too.
All right, next up we've got Celebrating Pride. World Pride is a series of LGBT pride events held in various international cities over the years, the first being in Rome in 2000. In 2023, the festival was held south of the equator for the first time, with massive parades on Oxford Street, in the Darlinghurst neighborhood of what city?
So something like Oxford Street, south of the equator. I'm thinking a couple things: Australia, New Zealand. Sounds
Yeah, I was
former
thinking
British territory.
British.
And then Darlinghurst, is that what we?
That sounds Australian.
It also could be New Zealand.
Let's go Australia.
Okay, we'll go Australia. Just figuring Holden studied abroad there. Maybe there's a link or something.
We're also saying Australia.
It was the question's looking for a city.
The city. I'm going to say Sydney.
Sydney.
We'll say
Australia
Sydney.
City. Oh, Sydney. Yeah.
All right, and nice work. I was at these parades at my time abroad, and they were in Sydney.
Awesome.
We're just celebrating the fact that the movie Australia has been recut into a mini-series with this question.
Didn't that movie come out like 20 years ago now?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Next up, we've got global chemistry figures. Of all of the elements on the periodic table, 19 of them are named after people. The two oldest of these people were born in the 15th century. One was a Polish mathematician, famous for his work in astronomy, and the other was an Italian navigator, who is the namesake of the two notable landmasses he discovered. For 5 points each, name these two people.
Oh, good. I made a face like I had no idea what he was talking about, but I got a thumbs up in response. So we're locked in.
Probably Amerigo Vespucci is the other one.
Oh, that would make sense for Americium. Yeah, if you go that way and not the landmass. The other one I'm thinking of is definitely Nicholas Copernicus for Copernicium.
So it sounds like we got two.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Yeah, we also said Copernicus and Amerigo Vespucci.
Nice work from both teams. That would be Copernicus for Copernicium and Amerigo Vespucci for Americium.
Thank you for not asking us to name 19 people. Periodic table has elements for, or we would be here until
1 point
next
for
Friday.
Livermorium's a trick. It's named for the lab, not the person.
We'd be sitting here for 3 hours with Jeff.
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, bad
named
news
after
about the swing
Tennessee
round.
Williams, I believe.
Right. All right, last question of round one.
Yeah, last round one, question 10. We've got time to open up the PS4. Vespucci Beach, Vinewood, and Rockford Hills are the altered location names in the fictionalized version of Los Angeles that serves as the backdrop for what 2013 video game?
Locked in.
So, Grand Theft Auto, right? But which one was 13?
2013. It takes place in a fictionalized LA, right?
Right.
So I'm guessing that would be San Andreas, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't have been.
Although he said open up the PS4.
Yeah.
So would it be Grand Theft Auto 4?
Could very well be. Because I know 3 or whatever, Miami, or Vice City was Miami. So
4 didn't have a very LA feel, I don't think.
I don't remember playing it. So
Could it be Grand Theft Auto 5? Is it that old?
I have no idea. I don't really play this series.
You know, forget San Andreas. That's way too old. Let's go with Grand Theft Auto 5.
I was recently playing this game, and I was shocked at how accurate it was to LA streets, where I felt like I knew where I was going based on my time living there. This is most definitely GTA 5.
And yep, GTA 5 is in fact running on 11 years old now. That would be GTA 5 for this question.
Wow, well done.
That's crazy. We almost shot ourselves in the foot while running away from the police on that one, but we pulled it out.
It's like when I was playing
2 stars.
Spider-Man and I was in like Washington Square Park. I was like, holy crap, like this is like
Very
literally a map
accurate.
of New York. It's insane. It's great.
And that concludes round one, and the scores are in. The Atlanta Falcons have 102, and edited in later has 87. So still anybody's game, as we like to say. It's very close.
This wouldn't be the first time the Falcons blew a halftime lead.
Ooh, okay. He's calling a shot.
Wow.
And before we move on, we just want to send a thanks to our listeners on Patreon and, try to pitch the product too. Right, Jeff?
I invite you to join.
Oh,
you will.
yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Invite you to join, yeah.
Very exclusive club over there at patreon.com/trivialitypodcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get ad absolution. What's that?
Ad absolution.
You don't get
have
ads.
to hear Jeff
No-
say
no
Ad
ads.
free.
absolution.
You don't have to hear this ad or any
this
ad.
very ad will be cut.
Yeah, or any ad over there. And of course, we are now doing weekly bonus episodes.
Weekly bonuses.
Most of them written directly by your beloved hosts, or not so beloved, depending on which week you're on. But
And crop drops.
and crop drops, yeah. So if you are itching for a little bit more triviality, we are doing a weekly bonus episode over there on Patreon as well. So we invite you to join. There's something for everybody over there. Again, patreon.com/trivialitypodcast.
I don't mind pitching this product because it's a good product.
It is the one that we stand behind the most.
And with that, we will move on to the swing round. So what do you have in store for us?
So today's swing round, your theme is going to be Dutch guys. For this swing round, I will describe a person who may be fictional or real, whose middle name is the classic Dutch van. Number 1, this American actor is most well known for his self-titled TV sitcom in the early 1960s. Number 2, not quite the composer of Rhapsody in Blue, this Dutch professional darts player went viral in 2023 when barely missing out on a 9-darter, only for his opponent, Michael Smith, to complete the perfect leg. Number 3, known as the Muscles from Brussels, this Belgian actor and martial artist starred in a number of action and martial arts films in the late 80s and early 90s. Number 4, the leader of his self-titled gang, this secondary character in the Red Dead Redemption series attempted to lead his gang through the late stages of the Wild West era. Number 5, known as one of the greatest guitar players in rock history, this man founded a self-titled band along with his brother in 1972. Number 6, this politician and lawyer were responsible for capturing the escaped slaves aboard the Amistad and sending them back to Havana. Number 7, one of the best NFL quarterbacks of the pre-Super Bowl era, this man won the MVP award on his way to the 1960 NFL championship and still holds the single-game passing yards record for a 554-yard performance in the 1951 season opener. Number 8, in 1973, this man founded a legendary American rock music band whose name is an alternate spelling of a gym teacher in Jacksonville. Number 9, this man's namesake equation is an extension of the ideal gas law that takes physical properties of the gas into account to provide a more realistic depiction of the behavior of gases. Number 10, this ESPN sports commentator and UMD alumni is known for co-anchoring the 11 p.m. edition of SportsCenter on ESPN.
All right, we have our questions. Let's take a quick break. Listen to those ads if you're not on Patreon, and we'll be right back.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
What will I become? Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Everyone knows therapy is great for solving problems, but getting therapy has its own problems too, like finding the right therapist, fitting into their schedule, and of course, the cost. Well, BetterHelp can solve those problems. It's totally online and built around your schedule. It's surprisingly affordable too. Connect with a credentialed therapist by phone, video, or online chat, all from the comfort of your home. Visit BetterHelp.com to learn more and save 10% on your first month. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P.
And we are back from the swing round. We have a couple good answers and a couple maybe not so good answers, but let's see how we did. Let's get those descriptions one more time, Holden.
So, number 1, this American actor is well known for his self-titled TV sitcom in the early 1960s.
We believe that is Dick Van Dyke.
We agree, Dick Van Dyke.
Points to both teams, that was Dick Van Dyke. Number 2, not quite the composer of Rhapsody in Blue, this Dutch professional darts player went viral in 2023 when barely missing out on the 9-darter, only for Michael Smith to complete the perfect leg.
Well, I don't know any dart players, but I do know George Gershwin composed Rhapsody in Blue, so we're saying it's George Van Gersh.
Oh, that's really good. Yes, I also I couldn't remember if it was Ira or George that did Rhapsody in Blue, so I'm just going with Van Gershwin.
So good pickups on the clue there, but no points. That was Michael Van Gerwen, was that darts player. Number 3, known as the Muscles from Brussels, this Belgian actor and martial artist starred in a number of action and martial arts films in the late 80s and early 90s.
We are saying JCVD.
Mm-hmm.
Jean-Claude Van Damme for the...
Yes.
And yep, that is Jean-Claude Van Damme. Number 4, the leader of his self-titled gang, this secondary character in the Red Dead Redemption series, attempted to lead his gang through the late stages of the Wild West era.
One of the most hated characters in video game history, Dutch Vanderlyn.
And neither of us know or play this game. I think Matt said, well, Ken's going to know this because it's his horse game.
Yeah.
The horsey game.
I love riding the horses.
The horsey game. So we went with Clint Van Eastwood.
And points to the Falcons there. That is Dutch Vanderland. Number 5, known as one of the greatest guitar players in rock history, this man founded a self-titled band along with his brother in 1972.
Yeah, we said Eddie Van Halen.
Yep, we agreed. Eddie Van Halen.
Nice work. That would be Eddie Van Halen. Number 6, this politician and lawyer were responsible for capturing the escaped slaves aboard the Amistad and sending them back to Havana.
We weren't sure, but the van that we know from this time period is Martin Van Buren.
We also said Martin Van Buren.
And points to both teams. That would be President Martin Van Buren. Number 7, one of the best NFL quarterbacks of the pre-Super Bowl era. This man won the 1960 MVP and NFL championship, and he holds the single-game passing yard record at 554.
Yep, I think this is Norm Van Brocklin.
Mm-hmm. It's a name I see every year when playing Madden career modes. Norm Van Brocklin.
Nice pull for the legendary Atlanta Falcons and Minnesota Vikings head coach Norm Van Brocklin. Number 8, in 1973, this man founded a legendary American rock music band whose name is an alternate spelling of the name of a gym teacher in Jacksonville.
Yep, figuring this is from Leonard Skinner. I think this is Ronnie Van Zant.
We also said Ronnie Van Zant.
Nice work. That was Ronnie Van Zant. Number 9, this man's namesake equation is an extension of the ideal gas law that takes physical properties of the gas into account to provide a more realistic depiction of the behavior of gases.
Yeah, all I could remember is
Jim Van Fart.
Boyle's Law or something, but I don't know. We just said the creator of the microscope, Van Leeuwenhoek.
Oh, and we had no idea. We knew the ideal gas law, so we said Piv Van Nert.
It's very good, guys.
So this one is the van der Waals equation, named for Johannes van der Waals.
Ah.
And number 10, this ESPN sports commentator and UMD alumni is known for co-anchoring the 11 p.m. edition of SportsCenter on ESPN.
Yeah, my favorite bald sports commentator, SVP, Scott Van Pelt.
Scott Van Pelt.
And yep, had to throw a terp in the show somewhere, so that is Scott Van Pelt for number 10.
Following the swing round, Atlanta Falcons in the lead with 142 and edited in later 122.
All right, and let's go ahead and start round 2, question 1 here. Category is famous fathers. I am a current Midwestern U.S. Senator. My father, Jim, was a well-known regional sports and politics writer for the Star Tribune, who covered the local NFL team for many years, and was notably the first reporter in the country to declare John F. Kennedy's presidential victory over Richard Nixon in 1960. Who am I?
All right, we're going to take a stab at this one. Not too sure, though.
So the Star Tribune, I'm 99% sure is the Minnesota paper.
Okay.
I don't know any Minnesotan senators. And you don't either?
No.
I don't think it's... All the Illinois senators are in jail, I believe, so it's probably not any of them.
No, governors. We like to send governors to jail.
It's the governors. My mistake. So I don't know. I have no idea.
Pick a last name.
Are we going Johnson? Johnson's a good name.
Yes, yeah.
Good
Lucky
guess.
Johnson.
Yeah.
It hits every now and then.
But
Every
I'll
now
feel
and
good if it's Minnesota.
Every now and then it's a good bet. We're just picking someone we know as a senator and vaguely in the Midwest, and we're going to go ahead and say it's Mitch McConnell.
I thought for a second there that was
Jimmy Stewart.
Gerald Ford died today.
So no points on this one. The Star Tribune is in Minnesota, and this father Jim was named Jim Klobuchar, father of current U.S. Senator Amy
Klobuchar.
Yes, picked up a lot of stories about him in a great
Interesting.
Minnesota Vikings documentary recently. Round 2, question 2, we have sound origins. The iconic double beat sound effect that plays when you open Netflix comes from an episode of the service's first ever original series released in the U.S. With 6 total seasons from 2013 to 2018, what series was this?
Oh, locked in.
Locked in?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Orange is the New Black?
You think that's their first original series?
It had 6 seasons. I mean, I can't think of a lot of other Netflix shows that have gone 6 seasons at all for original programming.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, Orange is the New Black.
So that's a pretty common guess for this one, but before that we had Kevin Spacey's House of Cards.
Oh, and I was just thinking about that
guessed
today
House of
too.
Oh yeah, that's right,
wow.
because he said there's no Netflix without me. Kevin Spacey did.
Wow.
Oh well, no points.
I forgot that I had a 6th season. I only remember 5 of them very well.
Yep. And now we've got round 2, question 3. 1 word, 2 meanings. This word can refer both to the jewelry store run by Claire's that is marketed towards adult women, or the ice hockey infraction in which a team shoots the puck from their side of the red line to behind the opposing team's goal line. What word is this?
Locked in. I shop at Claire's all the time.
And I know a hockey.
I was going to say, I know a hockey, and that sounds like it could be the name of a jewelry store, though I've never heard it.
So we're going to say icing.
Yes, icing.
And yep, points to both teams there. This is icing.
Much less popular is the jewelry store hooking.
Well, it's popular with certain subsects.
Depends on the state.
All right.
One of my favorite bits on 30 Rock is like when they do like the fake shows and they have homonym as one of their shows, and it's like they give you the word and then you have to say which. They give you the meaning and then you have to say which word it is, and then they go, no, the other one.
Yeah.
It's great.
Forgot about homonym.
And then there's celebrity homonym. It's
funny.
it's the other one. So that always makes me think that.
All right, moving on, we've got The Carter Family. The 2008 song Mr. Carter features verses from 2 rappers, one from Louisiana and the other from Brooklyn, whose real last names, as the song title suggests, are both Carter. For 5 points each, give me the stage names of each of these artists.
Locked in.
So Jeff wrote down Jay-Z.
For sure.
I agree.
That is the Brooklyn Carter.
Was the other one Lil Wayne?
In 2000? I don't know.
The
think
year on
it's
that
Lil-
one was 2008.
Oh,
I
2008.
think it's Lil Wayne.
That
is
could
the
be
other
Lil
one.
Wayne.
Yep.
He gives me Atlanta vibes, but it could be Louisiana.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah, all of his he has 3 albums, the Carter 1, 2, 3. I think there's a Carter 4, Lil Wayne, and then Sean Carter. I think I forget what it is. Jay-Z.
So, yep, from Brooklyn, we've got Sean Carter, a.k.a. Jay-Z. And from Louisiana, we've got my personal favorite artist, Dwayne Carter, a.k.a. Lil Wayne.
Nice.
Next up, we've got Add a Letter. Adding 1 letter to the name of a 1991 horror movie villain will give you the name of what current NFL franchise?
You leave Hannibal Lecter out of this. That's the name of the podium I like to give speeches from.
Hannibal Lecter. All right, I'm going to write down.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Boo.
Locked
All
in,
right.
I guess.
So these guys are locked in.
Wait, is this Buffalo Bill?
Yeah. Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bill. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down. I was so excited. You were just like, oh, yeah, here it is.
Don't get too excited about stuff.
Excitement.
Yep, and there we go. I was really hoping you guys would get there after Hannibal Lecter, because this was Buffalo Bill and my favorite team, the Buffalo Bills.
And the score is, after 5 questions in the second round, 172 for Atlanta Falcons and 152 for Edited in Later. So it's a 20-point game. Anybody's game. Anybody can win this one, Matt.
I believe that is accurate.
To 90% of games that we play, yes.
All right, and next up, we've got so much history, so little space. In 1600, the 6 Statutes of 1600 were written in a European country, currently the 5th smallest country in the world. These statutes serve as the country's constitution and are thought to be the oldest running constitution in the world. What country is this?
All right, looks like Jeff has a hunch on this one, so we're going to lock on in.
All right. Matt, I don't know why, but I'm thinking Malta.
Malta?
Yeah.
Malta's pretty small.
It's pretty small. I feel like they're super into their history there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, but the oldest constitution in the world, there's something ringing a bell for me with that. But I'm not 100%, but
So
if you have,
when I think of small European countries, San Marino comes up every single time as a very tiny country. I don't know how old their constitution
that I don't know
is.
anything about.
I don't know anything else. I'm pretty sure it's double landlocked. I think maybe. I don't know. It's always it's one of those facts, but I can never remember it. I'm sure Jeff would tell me, but I'm good with Malta if that was your first inkling.
It was my first inkling.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Let's stick with it.
Okay.
All right,
we are instinct here.
We are going with Matt's inkling, San Marino, I believe.
And if only Matt had gone with Matt's inkling, because this is San Marino.
Oh.
No, that's okay. San Marino's my favorite 90s quarterback, actually.
Next up, we've got Chag Sameach. Many American Jewish people give presents on Hanukkah due to its proximity to Christmas. However, which Jewish holiday, typically celebrated by eating jelly donuts and wearing costumes, is the traditional Jewish gift-giving holiday?
All right. Well, Jeff says the day I wrote down is actually a day of atonement, which doesn't sound like a good gift-giving day, but we're going to lock in with it anyways.
Maybe it's congratulations, you've atoned for your sins.
Here's a present.
Here's a jelly donut.
And a present, yeah.
So my first thought was Rosh Hashanah was always a very big holiday when I was out in LA. It was huge Jewish population.
Plus, Rosh Hashanah sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that was another reason, obviously, that I was thinking that. It seemed like it'd be a blast. But I don't have anything else to add to it.
I don't know. I was trying to write down holidays I knew about. There's one that's like, and I'm going to say this wrong and I apologize. It's like Pesach. It's like Pesach.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's, I feel like that's a fun one, but I don't know anything else about it. So whatever you want to go with.
All right. Well, this time you'll be right. So we're going to go with Rosh Hashanah and hope for the best.
All right, so Rosh Hashanah is pretty fun. I can tell you Yom Kippur is not very fun, but the correct answer here is Purim, our traditional celebration and gift-giving holiday.
Julie was onto something.
It's going to be in about late March this year. All right, next up we've got math history. Ancient Greek mathematicians believed that every number could be expressed as a ratio of 2 integers, until Hippasus asserted that the square root of 2 could not be. For this assertion, Hippasus was drowned at sea. What is the name for numbers, such as the square root of 2, that cannot be expressed as a ratio of 2 integers?
I wish I was drowned at sea right now. You have a thought? Okay. We know. Both of us know.
Oh, yeah.
Right, both of us.
Yeah, drowning yourself at sea would be an irrational thing to do. Do you have any ideas, Julia?
Is it prime?
I believe it's
Like,
prime.
Just the term
Yeah.
prime.
Can only be divided by itself, essentially, right? Yeah.
Or the ratio of two integers. I'm not sure what that
It can mean a lot.
that means. It can mean a lot. Yeah, it's open to interpretation.
Really?
Math,
Like most math,
historically.
most math things, it's open to interpretation.
It's more art than science. I'm fine.
Well, is irrational the right answer?
It might be.
Like square root of 2 is,
Yeah.
let's go with that.
Okay. We'll go with irrational this time.
You said it was irrational to drown yourself at sea.
And I would think that if it could not be summed by a ratio, it might be irrational.
Oh.
And yes, these numbers that cannot be expressed as the ratio of two integers are irrational numbers.
You know, I never put the word ratio into irrational until just now. Just this instant.
All right, next up, we've got deoxidized performance arts. With almost 37 million tickets sold from 1984 to 2004, what performer holds the record for most tickets sold to a solo act?
Okay, so thanks to the clue there, I think we're locked in.
So I think I had heard that this was Neil Diamond. Because he would sell out Madison Square Garden, like he had a residency there. And I know he did that for a long period of time. And the category was deoxidized something or other, which lends me to Diamond.
Performance arts.
Yeah.
Okay.
You good with Neil
Great.
Diamond?
Sure.
Okay.
So we're going a little bit of a different way. We think the deoxidization happens to copper and turns it green. And we're going with David Copperfield.
And yep, deoxidized was a nod to copper there for David Copperfield. Last question of round 2.
I was like, rusty.
Rusty nails.
Don't know any rusty like performance artists.
Yep, last question of round 2, we've got losing streaks. What Atlantic Division NHL team holds the record for longest playoff drought in NHL history at 12 years and counting, and is tied for the record of most consecutive losses in a season, dropping 18 straight games in the 2020 to 2021 season?
All right, we're locked in with a guess here.
Did you say how long the playoff drought was?
12 years and counting.
Yeah. I was originally thinking Islanders, but I think that they had a couple of good seasons a couple years back. So I'm pretty sure that this is another Buffalo nod, and these is the Sabres.
Yeah, we were trying to think.
Actually.
Yeah, we were trying to think of the
Dunder Mifflin and Sabre.
The biggest bunch of sucks whoever sucked, minus Jack Eichel now. We're gonna say the Buffalo Sabres.
It's been wonderful to watch Sabres hockey this last decade plus or so, and this is the Buffalo Sabres on their way to playoff miss number 13.
And following the second round, Atlanta Falcons has expanded their lead slightly, but it's still anybody's game. We have 212, and edited in later has 172. And really quick, we just want to remind all of our listeners about our Patreon. You can get great bonus episodes weekly, including trivia games 3 times per month, and then a crop drop once per month, in addition to the entire backlog of bonus episodes, which is like 2 days straight of listening or something like that. More than that. More than 2 days straight of listening. You can just let it run for like 48 hours, and you won't run out of content on Patreon. So if $5 a month sounds reasonable to you, that's like a cup of coffee, right? Right?
I don't know.
Not anymore.
Cup of fancy coffee.
Yeah.
Anyways, join us on Patreon. If you don't want to go all the way to $5, we also have the $1 a month minimum, and many other levels. You can get gift boxes, character boxes, posters, lots of good stuff over there. So please check us out on Patreon. What's the website, Jeff? Because I don't remember.
Patreon.com/trivialitypodcast.
Thank you, Jeff. And now on to the final round categories. Let's hear what those are, Holden.
All right, so Matt actually nodded to this earlier. There are 5 The Carter albums by Lil Wayne, so these categories are the lead singles from each of those albums. We've got Bring It Back, Fireman, Lollipop, 6 Foot, 7 Foot, and Uproar.
Well, this means nothing to me, Jeff, so let's just go 30s. Let's bring it home.
I have strong opinions on Lollipop. No, we can wager 30 on everything. I don't have. I think we're good with 30s for everything.
All right, you heard the man. Let's go ahead and get the questions.
All right, we've got Bring It Back. In 2016, what television series that debuted in 2000 and ran for 7 seasons was brought back in a 1-season, 4-episode revival titled A Year in the Life? Fireman. In 1736, what famous historical figure recommended the creation of the Union Fire Company, the country's first volunteer firefighting service based in Philadelphia, and served on it as America's first volunteer fire chief? Lollipop. In British English, a lollipop man is equivalent to what American term referring to a kind of safety officer? 6 Foot, 7 Foot. For a brief period in the 1993-1994 NBA season, the 2 tallest players in NBA history were both members of the Washington Bullets. Which 2 players, standing at 7'7" each, were they? Uproar. Uproar is defined as a public expression of protest or outrage. Before the summer of 2020, in which the collection of protests associated with the Black Lives Matter movement was estimated to have been the most attended series of coordinated protests in U.S. history, a protest in the spring of 1970 with an estimated 20 million attendees held that record. This was the first time that what annual event was held, still being recognized through the modern day.
All right, we have our questions, and we'll be back with the answers and find out who will be today's cream of the crop. And we are back. We have some answers and hopefully the correct ones. Let's go ahead and get the questions one more time. Find out what's going to happen.
All right. We had Bring It Back. In 2016, what television series that debuted in 2000 and ran for 7 seasons was brought back in a 1-season, 4-episode revival titled A Year in the Life?
I informed Jeff that this was the Gilmore Girls.
Yes, it is the Gilmore Girls.
Yep, nice work. That is the Gilmore Girls. Fireman. In 1736, what famous historical figure recommended the creation of the Union Fire Company, the country's first volunteer firefighting service based in Philadelphia, and served on it as America's first volunteer fire chief?
Well, this man was just full of ideas and, syphilis?
I would think.
We said Ben Franklin.
We also said Ben Franklin.
And yep, this one was Ben Franklin. Lollipop. In British English, a lollipop man is equivalent to what American term, referring to a kind of safety officer?
We said crossing guard.
Yes, a crossing guard.
Nice work, both teams. That was crossing guard.
Jeff also goes by Lollipop Man sometimes in his other career. Selling ice cream.
6 Foot, 7 Foot. For a brief period in the 1993-1994 NBA season, the 2 tallest players in NBA history were both members of the Washington Bullets. Which 2 players, standing at 7'7" each, were they?
Ooh, 7'7". I thought Manute Bol was 7'6", but we guessed Manute Bol. And then I like to watch a lot of infographics. I think the other one was like George Merson or something like that. My Romanian sucks, so don't.
Yeah.
How's your Romanian?
Oh, mine's perfect. It is Manute Bol and star of My Giant with, I believe, Billy Crystal, George Mirasan.
Mirasan, yeah.
Nice work, both teams. That would be Manute Bol and George Mirasan. And Uproar. Uproar is defined as a public expression of protest or outrage. Before the summer of 2020, where the Black Lives Matter protests were estimated to be the most attended series of protests ever, a protest in the spring of 1970, with an estimated 20 million attendees, held that record. This was the first time what annual event was held, still being recognized through the modern day.
Well, I'm the foremost authority on the Women's March, so we said Women's March. That's a joke.
We went the opposite gender direction and said the Million Man March.
So, tough one to close out here. These protests were actually environment-based, which spawned Earth Day.
I did have that thought, too. So the final scores are now in. Edited in later has 262, a very respectable score. But edging them out are the Atlanta Falcons with 302, making us today's cream of the crop.
On balance, off balance, doesn't matter. I'm better than you are. Yeah.
And more importantly, that means Julia is free from Matt's clutches.
Yeah, you can play with
Make it
anyone
sound
else,
so.
man.
I think our knowledge balances each other out pretty well. But this was a very good written questions today by Holden.
Agreed.
It was great.
Thank you very much, Holden. It was a great game, fun to play. Any final shout-outs for you?
I'll give a shout-out to my mom for getting me into trivia, get me into Triviality. I did not tell her that I planned on hosting a game, so...
Nice. That should be a fun little surprise.
She's going to turn this on in the car on her way to work and hear me and hopefully flip out about that, so... Hi, Mom.
Cool.
Hope you enjoyed my
Well, that's
game.
awesome. Hello to Holden's mom and all
shout
the
out
other
to your
moms
mom.
out there, yeah.
All the moms. This
Yeah,
all the
all the moms who
Julia, shout out.
inspire, you know?
Yeah. We have crying babies in other rooms. Shout out to the moms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and before we go, we want to thank Airwave Media as always. They're our network. Airwavemedia.com is where you can find them, and they have other great podcasts such as Bro History, Monster Talk, and Tumble, Science Podcast for Kids. So make sure you check some of those out. And that'll do it. Once again, I want to thank Julia for standing in for Neil today. For Julia, Matt, Holden, Jeff, and myself, that was Triviality.